Hello and a very warm welcome. You're watching News9 Live. I'm Kabir Naqvi, and I'll be honest with you. Ladies and gentlemen, for all of you who are joining our live stream right now, I'm not too sure if my heart is going to be okay during the course of this discussion. Because today, we've got a thought-provoking discussion where we delve into the concerning increase in heart-related problems amongst young individuals, with many cases proving to be fatal. Our experts, we've got quite a lot of top doctors, nutritionists, lifestyle coaches with us on the discussion. And they will examine whether this surge can be considered a new epidemic. And we're also going to explore if COVID-19 has a role to play in these occurrences. The younger people facing a higher risk of heart problems, that's the question. We're going to explore the factors contributing to the heart attack cases, the reported cases of heart attacks, and the untimely deaths among young individuals, including influential figures like actor Nitesh Pandey, the most recent case, singer KK, actor Puneet Rajkumar, comedian Raju Srivastav, actor Siddharth Shukla, the Andhra Pradesh minister Gautam Reddy also passed away at a very young age. Now, what explains this unsettling trend, and what precautions should one take? We're going to examine the link between heart attacks and COVID-19, discussing the potential impact, if at all there is one, of the virus on cardiac health. We will also shed light on the warning signs of a heart attack that everyone should be aware of. So continue to join us either in the comment section or by sharing this live stream for the insightful discussion in the comment sections as we unravel the complex relationship between heart attacks, young individuals, and the ongoing pandemic. It has certainly come really down, but it's not yet over. Stay informed and take charge of your own heart health. Well, now joining us on the broadcast, some top experts and top doctors. First up, Dr. Naresh Trehan, CMD and Chief Cardiac Surgeon, Medanta, the Medicity. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Always a pleasure to speak to you. Dr. Shikhar Sharma, nutritionist and founder of One Health, is also going to be with us. And Dr. Mickey Mehta, global leading holistic health guru and corporate life coach, also with us on the broadcast. But first, quickly, going to Dr. Naresh Trehan. Dr. Trehan, right at the outset, I've been talking to a lot of people ever since last year when actual cases did, start coming up. Celebrity cases come about and people start talking about it. But the minute I step my foot outside this office, really talk to my peers on the ground and ask them, this youngster was dancing and suddenly had a heart attack. Look at this young adult was, running on the treadmill and suddenly collapses. Over a cigarette, sharing these anecdotes, people do usually tend to push it under the rug and say, this usually happens, sabne ek na ek din marna hi hai. So I'm going to ask you this question right at the outset, sir, not wasting any time. Do we have a discussion or a debate at our hands? What does the data tell us? What's the word amongst the doctors in the community?
It's been known for decades that Indians have a much higher propensity for heart disease than our Western counterparts. That's a known fact. Many studies have been done around the world. Not only Indians living in India, but Indians living in other countries also have shown double the incidence of heart disease than their counterparts in like the Caucasian population in the West. So if you analyze the reasons why this has happened, so there is one first reason which we must recognize is that genetically, we have that tendency in our genes that we are more vulnerable to heart disease than other populations, because this happens in different disease forms in different countries. So you will see in the Caucasian population, some of the disease may be more often than us, but heart disease, we have the genetic propensity. Second, our diet, our lifestyle, our habits of high smoking in younger people, all these things have contributed into actually increasing the deaths and development of critical blockages in the arteries. So that's a known fact for many years. Our food is very rich in cholesterol. We have fried food is our staple diet. So all those things you will leave aside. Now comes the fact that there has been, ever since COVID came, People were dying, but not with this kind of frequency that it has brought to attention to everybody that younger people are dying from heart disease. So heart disease does not happen overnight. It is a build-up. So this is where we separate the two. One is that over a period of time, and that's what we say today, know your genes. If you have heart disease in your family, the children will have double the chance of getting heart disease. So they should be checked out by the age of 25 for risk factors. Similarly, with diabetes, if one of their parents has diabetes or both parents have, the chances of the children getting diabetes become from 25 to 50%. So if you know this exists, you must be checked up for these two very early in life. Second, once we know the tendency and the risk factors, we can alter them. So there will be a huge possibility of preventing development further. Second, which is more important, what you want to know is, what has COVID done to us now? So we realized, and thanks to the doctors in Bergamo, Italy, they did 50 autopsies which showed that the COVID virus does not only affect the lungs, but it affects every organ in the body. It was found in every organ. We found in Medanta, because we were the main center for COVID treatment for critically ill people, that 20% of the people who were admitted into the hospital showed some signs of inflammation of the heart muscle. So immediately we would start them on anti-inflammatory so that the swelling in the fibers would go down if the heart, and we advised people do not go back to exercising, vigorous exercising, without getting a full checkup. So we designed a full checkup for them, that if you are a jogger or if you are cycling or if you are playing vigorous sports, you must be checked out before you go out in the field if you have had COVID. So many of these incidents that have happened, and we've lost friends also, is the fact that there was inflammation in their heart muscle. If they do heavy exercise, the heart muscle becomes unstable, and what you get is what we call arrhythmias and sudden death. That has happened in many of the cases that we are now talking about. So I think that there are two things that one must do. One, get yourself checked out if you have risk factors in the family, like genetic. By the age of 25, everybody should have a checkup by the age of 30. And then once we know your risk factors, today we have the ability to predict who's going to get heart disease of severity or who are not going to get, because that algorithm is available today. So knowing that the technology has led us to a level where we can give very precise advice to individuals, that now it's become a personalized medicine.
As long as the individual does go and get themselves checked. Dr. Trehan, you put out that Indians are predisposed genetically. They are more at risk when it comes to heart attacks or cardiac ailments. Now, how does the field of genomics contribute here? Is there any knowledge at all? What kind of implications does that set of knowledge have when it comes to prevention and treatment of cardiac arrest? Because, I mean, the common multitude, the larger multitude out there isn't one that is subscribed to various health journals and reports out there. Do we have any kind of knowledge, genomic sequencing, genomic, throw some light on that as well?
Very, very important question you asked, and that's what I was alluding to about know your genes, that today there are genetic mutations that have been identified. In our genetic genome mapping, where we can see that propensity for heart disease becomes more in those people. So this is work in progress. It's not been fully mapped yet to see what diseases, but diabetes and heart disease, there is already a beginning, and we do have identifiable two genes which we can say, if they are present in your genome mapping, then your propensity for heart disease becomes more. That's the value of it, is that those people can be individually warned that you better not indulge in behavior which enhances heart disease. So if you know that your family has heart disease, you know that you have your biochemical makeup is such that you know that your cholesterols and low level lipids are all deranged, then what you need to do is to take extra care from the very beginning of your life. So no smoking, no excessive drinking. You can exercise. In fact, we recommend exercise if we find that there is no disease. There are tests available today. Very easily, we can tell you with the CT angio whether you have the beginning of disease or not. And if you don't, we can give you all the preventive measures. So hopefully, we can avoid even those people who are at higher risk from getting heart disease. So, but the point is, people must understand that they must first get themselves checked up so that we can tell.
Well, absolutely, absolutely. And, Dr. Trehan, before we bring in the nutritionist and the life coach that are with us on the panel into the discussion and really expand the horizon of this, discourse, a lot of people take a lot of medication at home for, their cardiac health. I've seen it in my own family. I'm not really proud about it, doctor. But, there are blood thinners, various medicines that are now common household names. As a cardiac surgeon, how do you see this intersection of personalized medication and cardiovascular health and our outlook towards cardiovascular health evolving by the day? Last year it was completely different. This year you've got some more cases and you've got personalized medication because everybody's a doctor in their own homes, isn't it?
Well, you said it before I said it, that every Indian thinks that he's a doctor. So, but it's to the detriment of yourself that you do half knowledge and then try to copy things. So anyway, it doesn't matter. That's a personal thing. But what we are saying is there are certain rules of staying healthy, and that also leads to healthy cardiovascular life. So you're talking about that we say now it's very clear. If you can do vigorous exercise 40 minutes, 4 to 5 times a week, that washes your cardiovascular system. Like you do for everything else, you have a bath every day. You should actually exercise your cardiovascular system so that the arteries are always functionally at high capacity. So that is one. Two, once we know whether you have risk factors, it's like high blood pressure tendency or diabetes. Diabetes is a very, very dangerous disease. People don't understand that. People understand that, they can just control it with medicine, so it's okay. It's not okay. Diabetes is burning your body from inside 24/7. So every organ of the body can be affected. So and coupled with obesity, it's a sure recipe for disaster. So I think that actually, if you want to stay healthy, exercise, you need to do yoga, you need to watch your diet. De-stress. Yoga is a huge de-stressor. Pranayam is an amazing de-stressor. But there are some factors you can't control. Where you live, where there's so much pollution, there is so much noise pollution, there is environmental pollution. So there are many assaults on our body today, incrementally, and going forward, it's going to get worse. So we must know how to cope with our life, knowing our background of what am I more prone to than others. So we know that now we do liquid biopsies to identify if there are people have excessive cancer cells in their blood. We can even do the earliest detection at a point where cancer can be cured. So there are many, many technologies which are there, but somebody must get off the shelf and say, I'm not a doctor, let me go and get a checkup. And it's not that expensive anymore. There are tests that you can do a full body checkup with a reasonable cost, which will save you huge misery in life and also huge expense in life. So I think invest in your own health. It is very important. And if you don't, then who will care if you don't care for yourself? So,
Doctor, just the last couple of questions.
Good enough, the background, how people get heart attacks. It's a combination of biochemical, genetic, and lifestyle behavior. Smoking or tobacco in any form is bad. Excessive alcohol, more than 2 small drinks, 2, 3, 4 times a week is bad. We know all these things. This is general knowledge. Eating junk food is bad. This is common knowledge.
Right.
So those are things that you need to do for yourself. We can add certain other things doctors can add safety to your life. just by, you don't have to be spending thousands and thousands of rupees. It's just a basic checkup and a consultation with a specialist. That's it.
Well, I think it's a clear case of too many sips between the cup and the lip. Doctor, we always see you on various television programs. You're always in your neatly ironed, blue scrubs. We'd like to know and tell the viewers as well, what are some things that you do? You spoke about pranayam. What are some, tips and techniques that you follow personally?
Well, I will exercise at least 4 times a week, if not more. I will try to do yoga with my instructor at least 3 to 4 times a week, and also work all day. So that's what gives me great pleasure to be working. So I'm at work at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then the whole day goes by. You don't think negatively, it's all positive work. And whenever I feel stressed, I will use Alom Valom for a minute, and you'll see how it actually makes your stress go away. So those are the things, and you must keep your weight within control. Eat. I mean, you can indulge a little bit here and there. Nobody says don't eat a samosa in your life, but don't eat a samosa every day of your life. So that's the kind of things,
Well,
judiciousness.
for Indians, doctor, that menu is,
and
more
like you
expensive
said,
than just the samosa.
Look, that's my favorite food, so let's not dwell on it. But you have the experts with you.
Right,
One
precisely.
one request I have, that I've taken a lot of your time. I need to get back to the operating room soon.
Absolutely, doctor.
Let them give their gyan, and then you put it together. Okay?
Well, absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Trehan,
Right.
for joining us and helping us out with the insightful
Okay.
inputs that
All
you
the
always
best.
have. Many thanks. Well,
Thank you so
that's the doctor with us on the broadcast, Dr. Trehan. Let's not hold him. Also with us is Dr. Shikha Sharma, the nutritionist and founder for One Health. Dr. Shikha, as a nutritionist and from a clear nutritional standpoint, are there specific dietary factors or patterns that have been identified that contribute to a possible scenario of heart attack? We know that eating red meat or high cholesterol food is certainly problematic, but are there other things, other underlying dietary options that people don't necessarily take into account and are heavily consuming, which might end up creating a situation where somebody might have a cardiac ailment later on?
Absolutely. Like what you correctly mentioned is that let's start with diabetics. Now, diabetics tend to have a lot of artificial sweeteners, which could be aspartame, which could be saccharin, which could be acesulfame. All of them are chemicals, and they damage and cause inflammation in the body. In fact, in a recent news, WHO has said emphatically that not to use these sweeteners because they are only adding to the burden of chronic diseases. So for diabetics, that is number one. Please get off these chemical sugars. And if you really need that sweet, get it from fruits. Number two, which is very, very common, is the kind of oil you're using. Now, if you're using an oil which during the refining process has a lot of chemicals and bleaching agents and additives added, then that is no longer natural oil. It has a lot of chemicals, which is again going to cause inflammation, and this inflammation will contribute to the heart disease. So that is number two, is oil. Number three, I would say that people who are eating, say, red meat or any other non-vegetarian food, they need to have a lot of balancing food, Now, what are the balancing foods which make our body less acidic or less inflammatory? For example, vegetable juices. Now, I think I would say everybody should have a vegetable juice in the morning. It could be the seasonal vegetables, which could be like carrot or tomato. You can put aloe vera. It is very, very alkaline in nature. You could put amla. It's called a superfood. So a vegetable juice made out of ginger, mint, aloe vera, amla, bottle gourd, pumpkin, beetroot, and carrot, tomatoes. It's full of antioxidants, which actually reduce your inflammation. The next thing I would say is, and which is not part of diet, but I would say that it's very important not to have gadgets during sleeping. People don't realize that our entire restoration happens at night. Our repair work happens at night. And if you're not getting adequate sleep of at least 7 hours, you are at risk of inflammation. And of course, I don't think enough water is being consumed. I mean, everybody knows that 2 liters of water a day is really important to flush your.
Cardinal sin, ma'am. I agree with you absolutely. Nobody is drinking enough water. I get the same from my mother as well. I'm not drinking enough water. On that note, I'm going to take a quick sip of water, but we're also, joined by a lifestyle coach, Dr. Mickey Mehta, global leading holistic health guru and corporate life coach. Sedentary lifestyle, modern lifestyle, these are two things that go hand in hand over here. Dr. Mehta, what's your take on that? Naresh Trehanji was just talking about how he, uses the pranayam during the middle of the day. Alom Vilom is another one of those techniques. But for the layman out there, not everybody can open up a fancy looking yoga mat, wear the right kind of stretchy pants and, throw up a Surya Namaskar. What for those people who don't know necessarily the benefits of yoga? How do you successfully introduce yoga to them or bring about those lifestyle changes? Just, give us brief and really pragmatic tips and techniques.
Let me first tell you that it's just not that the water that we don't drink enough, we don't breathe enough. And breath is fundamental to life. Only if we were to breathe consciously, regularly, we would be at ease always and heart attacks would never happen. Coming to the talk about yoga, the primary function of yoga is also to stretch. And when you stretch open, you create space. When you create space, you release knots. Blood flows easily, breath moves easily. And also your excessive temperature of the body relaxes. So your Vata, Pitta, Kapha, they get balanced. Going to the point of Dr. Trehan about genetics. So let me tell you that indeterminism is the nature of our genetics, which is said today, transgenerational epigenetic reset, which means you could be born with any kinds of genes. But your conscious behavior, conscious intervention can alter the course of your further life. We should not be victims to the destiny of the genes. We can be victors. So let me quite simply say that you can be the co-creator of the destiny of your wellness. You have legs to walk towards it, hands to make it, a mind to perceive it, a heart to believe it, and a spirit to achieve it. Humans can triumph against all odds, and only champions are born out of challenges. So your breath, your stretch, and speed, cut the speed of life. Speed will make you bleed. It's so simple. Ati and Gati shouldn't be there. Regular calming down, Shavasana, regular calming down, observing silence will make you avoid heart attacks. And very wonderful alkaline juices recommended by Dr. Shekhar Sharma. Wonderful. Please have them. They are the most vital. I'm so impressed with the panelists today. Dr. Trehan and Dr. Shekhar Sharma, they brought out such strong non-medical points also. Like Dr. Trehan on a national channel, he's talking about Anuloma Viloma, he's talking about yoga, which is exceptionally good and primary medicine and primary prevention of heart attacks. Can you imagine that opening up yourself, stretching yourself, releasing the knots of the body, knots of the mind, and easing out your emotions? From dis-ease, you get into ease. From disorder, you get into order. So regular shavasans, regular breaths, and regular alkaline food, simple, natural, seasonal, regional food will take you away. One thing I'd like to add here is loads of laughter, loads of singing, loads of dancing, and loads of love.
Well,
love is the single
Dr.
most
Mehta, how about you give us a joke in that case?
Tell me.
How about you give us a joke in that case?
Okay, I'll give you a joke. So I have seen when you go to parks and gardens, you see people walking, running, and jogging like crazy people. See the expression. What's happening? I mean, people are as if I'm carrying the earth on my head and I'm the only one who's.
But sir, how do you imitate Rocky Balboa in that case? How do you imitate Rocky Balboa or do justice to the eye of the tiger that's playing in your ears?
See, eye of the tiger is like the sankalpa, the determination, and it all comes with swikriti. So acceptance of the situation with grace, that brings you, Swikriti brings you to Santulan. Santulan brings you to Samarthan. Samarthan makes you Samarth. Samarth gives you, makes you Saksham. And Saksham gives you Sankalpa. And with Sankalpa, you can create your Swastha, your Shrishti, the Siddhi, and most important, Swasth ki Samruddhi.
Sir, now that's some yoga wordplay that you've given us. And you rightly pointed it out. I want this discussion to be away from the medical terminology and the medical verbiage. Dr. Shikha Sharma, can you help us elaborate? There are so many various diets that are now doing the round, so many famous diets. You've got the plant-based diet. I'm reading it out here, the Mediterranean diet. You've got the DASH diet. Are any of these diets and the dietary systems, do they have potential benefits, and what are their limitations? Throw light on both of these topics. Can they help in preventing heart attacks? The plant-based diets, the DASH diet, the keto diet, the Mediterranean diet. There are so many diets.
Yes. So fundamentally, what you have to do is, instead of trying to fit yourself into the diet, you have to have a diet which fits you, which is called personal nutrition or nutrigenomics. Nutrition according to your genomics, which is personalized nutrition. For years and years, we have been told we have to become this, we have to become that, we have to fit ourselves into this, we have to fit ourselves into that. That era is over. That we are people, and the diet has to be unique to us, which agrees with our genetic format, which agrees with who we are as a person. Now, in our fetus, there are certain energies which are predominant, and there are certain energies which are, which we would say in not in balance. So suppose I was born with more of fire energy or a pith energy. So in my diet, I have to now subdue that fire energy, and fire energy would come from non-vegetarian food, from hot spices, from tea, coffee, from getting angry. So which means I have to continuously balance my diet by foods which will reduce my fire energy, which is, for example, have more of vegetables, have more of fruits, have more of plant-based diets. Similarly, suppose if I was born with a lot of air energy, which is an imbalance, then I have to stay away from food which can cause a lot of air in my body, like legumes, like rajma, like lent. So, and I have to have more things which can balance the air, which is, for example, fruits, vegetables. But vegetables not always raw, but maybe with a little bit of olive oil or with a little bit of oil. So in olden times, there was no olive oil in India, but some other oil. So what I'm trying to say is nutrigenomics is the latest thing in which has been talked about in its own way in Ayurveda. So we have to first understand our body, step one. Step two, according to our body, according to the temperature, according to the season, then we have to eat foods which agree with our body and make it optimal or balanced. So balance is the key, but personalized balance.
Well, that's so eloquently put, Dr. Shikha Sharma. Also with us on the broadcast is Mayur Dheer, who's the head of the fitness vertical, the Fitness Express Health Club. Great tattoos on you, Mayur Dheer. Help us understand. We were just now running those visuals of a youngster who's, pushing himself to the limit in the gym. It's push-ups after push-ups, it's a bench after bench. Who can go to the topmost weight, lightweight baby? You can hear people screaming, tapping on each other's shoulders when they're doing deadlifts. There is so much going on in a gym when heavy lifting and when you're pumping iron per se. But what are some things that people need to keep in their mind as well? Have you come across a particular case where somebody suddenly had to go through some sort of cardiac arrest or ailment? What do gyms need to do in terms of keeping that those defibrillators, always get that pronunciation wrong, are placed inside gyms? Are there other equipment that needs to be placed inside gym? The first aid when it comes to doing those push-ups. What does one need to keep in their minds, a youngster that is heading to the gym for some hefty iron pumping?
Okay, first of all, I think every gym should have a CPR certified trainer, which is Cardiopulmonary Association, which primarily doesn't happen in the Indian society. The defibrillators are not available right now in any gym, what I know, but every trainer is AED or CPR certified. So in any case, if that thing happens or a concussion happens, something like that, so then the trainer is sufficient enough to provide that first aid in that particular 2 minutes, which is required to do that. And when it comes to you talking about lifting heavy weights or doing those push-ups and those deadlifts, I think primarily first thing which should be done is the correct assessment should be done. The PARQ form, the medical history should be taken, whether the person has some angina pectoris thing, or other medical ailments. And, a correlative action should be taken or should be concerned with the doctor that, this is the particular condition when we talk about the heart. See, we need to understand the concept of cardiac, whether it's a cardiac arrest, whether it's a myocardial infarction or heart attack, as we say, that, your situation or your position of heart is good enough. For that, I'll just take a couple of minutes to increase that thing and put some light on that. The major concern is your sedentary lifestyle, if we talk about. Second is, I would put it on the smoking, and the third is hypertension. These are all related to your cardiac. Now, if someone is smoking, obviously, the tar is being produced and he can have the problem of emphysema or something like that. Again, the main job, the main work of the heart is to pump the blood. And if we are not doing that, either you can do heavy weights, putting pressure on your heart, or you can do cardio at a high rate. What we see right now is something known as HIIT. So all these won't play a role until and unless your cardiac flow, your blood flow is absolutely right and your heart is absolutely functioning in a very good way.
Mayur,
So
is high intensity interval training dangerous? I've seen that ever since the pandemic struck us, people have been at homes and are using HIIT a lot. They're using AMRAPs, as many rounds per minute, something like that. And they're also using the HIIT, which is high intensity interval training. And interval training means putting more pressure on your heart. Is it dangerous? Should people go for HIIT?
HIIT is dangerous. You correctly put it like it is high intensity interval training. When we talk about high intensity, you need to know the MHR. That is your maximum heart rate. So that is basically 220 minus 8. So supposedly someone is 20 years of age. So the maximum heart rate he can attain is 200. That is 220 minus 20 is age. Okay, now the workout should be anywhere between 85 to 90%. If his heart rate increases more than 190, that means we are putting his life in danger. A couple of months back, there was an incident in which a person was doing burpees and he died on the spot. You need that adequate recovery, your ATP to restore. That then only you can design it. And interval training is also, it is like 1:5 or 1:3. That is the work is to rest ratio. It is not like you can do it for 30 seconds and then you only take 10 seconds of rest and then recover and then again start with the other round. And correctly mentioned, as you talk about the AMRAP, that is as many rounds as possible or as many repetitions as possible. You need that conditioning that you can actually follow that process. So for that, the assessment is very required. You cannot just give any HIIT training to anyone.
It seems like from where you're coming from, I can summarize that one has to really understand their own body first before really pushing to the limit, because it seems like there's a very thin line between pushing the limit and crossing that dangerous threshold. Mayur, stay on with us, and Dr. Miki Mehta and Dr. Shikha Sharma, do stay on with us. We here at News9, what we've done here is that News9 Plus, our OTT app, it's the world's first OTT news application. We've come out with a documentary. The documentary is called The Heart Died Young. We're going to play out a small snippet of this documentary. We're going to take questions to Mayur, Dr. Shikha Sharma and Dr. Miki Mehta. Do give us your viewpoint on these on this snippet of documentary as well. We're going to quickly play it out and then open this discussion further.
Till 8 months ago, Dharmendra Kumar was one among thousands of Indian youth who complete college and dream of donning the uniform. He was high on optimism and preparing to take the CDS exam. At his home in Loni, Ghaziabad, his family members were aware of Dharam's passion for the uniform. Kumar wanted to emulate his father Ram Singh, a Naib Subedar with the CRPF posted in Ladakh.
अपने पिताजी से प्रेरित होकर जो CRPF में काम करते हैं और इन दिनों लद्दाख में पोस्टेड हैं, मैं भी फौज में जाना चाहता हूं।
But at 24, Kumar's dreams received a rude jolt.
पिछले साल मुझे कार्डियक प्रॉब्लम हुई थी और मुझे एंजियोप्लास्टी करवानी पड़ी.
On a cold Delhi December evening, he began complaining of persistent chest pain.
मेरे पास अचानक फ़ोन आया धर्मेंद्र का कि उसकी छाती में बहुत तेज़ दर्द हो रहा है और मैं तुरंत ही उसके घर पहुंचा, उसको अपनी मोटरसाइकिल पे तुरंत ही हॉस्पिटल ले गया और मुझे बहुत ही आश्चर्य कि इतने कम एज में उस तरीके से हार्ट अटैक हुआ है.
The first time I met Dharmender was under a very dire situation where he had suffered a massive heart attack. He was in extensive cardiogenic shock. Now we are proceeding for an angiogram. Let's check the blood pressure.
It was an evening that would change Dharmendra's life forever.
Here our prime motive was that his age is only 24 and we have to open up his artery as soon as possible. I immediately opened up the coronary artery and his LED was opened up beautifully. He has an almost total recovery of heart function now.
अग्निवीर स्कीम ने मुझे एक दूसरा मौका दिया है जिससे मैं अपना सपना साकार कर सकूं.
If you thought heart attacks affect only celebrities in their 50s and 40s, think again.
Indians in general get heart disease at least 1 decade earlier than their Western counterparts. Also, the absolute percentage of people who get heart attacks is much higher in India than in the Western countries.
There has been a spate of high-profile heart attack victims such as comedian Raju Srivastava, singer KK, actor Puneet Rajkumar and TV star Siddharth Shukla, who were 40 or more. But the average age at which the first heart attack occurs in Indians has come down drastically, say doctors.
The overall prevalence of heart attacks below the age of 35 years is about 2 to 2.5%. It's not a very large number, but certainly this number is also an alarming number when you look at the age of the individual.
What we are getting in our emergencies are more younger people with heart attacks, and they actually come with massive heart attacks almost in late stages. They never reach early because of lack of awareness.
The lineage will tell you that if your parents had heart disease, the children will have double the chance.
Well, you can download the News9 Plus application. It's available on the Google App Store and the Apple App Store for other incisive analysis and cutting-edge documentaries. But circling back to Dr. Mickey Mehta, the lifestyle coach with us on the broadcast here. Dr. Mehta, how do socioeconomic factors and disparities come into play here? Are there certain fault lines that one has to be wary of and then can prevent cardiac arrest? How does the socioeconomic factor play its role here?
The pressure to perform, the pressure to make money, the pressure to make 2 ends meet, and the pressure of losing the job and peers taking over. Now that factor really takes a big toll on you. Literally from morning to evening, there is a pressure cooker happening. This pressure cooker should be released. You know, in yoga, there is a wonderful Sanskrit line, which I have modified a little bit. That swasth is nothing but स्वयं में स्थित, स्वयं में उपस्थित, स्वयं में होना और स्वयं को होने देना. The very crux of the matter here is we don't allow ourselves to just be. We are constantly in the race, the chase maze, and we are stretched apart. We are pulled, pushed, and jostled and tousled. We need to calm down, cool down, relax. 2 minutes every 3-4 hours. Trust me, 2 minutes every 3-4 hours, just calming down, shutting the eyes, and let your scattered, staggered, broken pieces come together. Become healed, become whole, go back to life. 3 to 4 times a day, if you do this, trust me, it will help you, heal you. Most importantly, don't succumb to the social economic pressures of performance, performance, performance. Look at Three Idiots, the movie Three Idiots. The story told there is believe in yourself, believe in your talent, believe in your skill sets, do your best, but don't overstretch, overreach, and speed and extremities should be avoided.
Well, absolutely. That's also very nicely put. Dr. Sharma, can you share from your personal experience any particular anecdotes or success stories where people have, changed their dietary preferences, have really incorporated the word food synergy like it's being thrown about in various, blogs and on the internet? Do you have any success stories where people have incorporated food synergy and they've successfully mitigated the risk factors of a cardiac arrest, or somebody who had undergone a cardiac arrest and was a victim of a cardiac ailment was successfully able to overturn the entire ordeal?
So we have different kind of success stories, and many of them are comorbidities. Like, for example, people who have diabetes and heart problem, or diabetes and blood pressure. And many of these cases, what we have realized is that they, as the Dr. Mickey Mehta said, that they are chasing money, they're chasing big dreams, they're chasing what we call as the rat race. And one fine day, they discover that they have a host of diseases. Their blood sugar is going out. In fact, one patient I remember 20 years back came, and we insisted that he gets an executive blood check done, because that's part of a protocol before we start the treatment. And with great difficulty, he finally agreed, and his blood sugar was 270. And he panicked because he never knew he was having diabetes. So what I'm trying to say is that many people discover for the first time when they're having symptoms. So, but of course, once he started with us, he was very sincere, and he knocked off about 40 kilos in the next 2.5 years. And he completely, radically changed himself. He started putting himself as a focus rather than always chasing money, business, this growth, that growth. See, what I'm trying to say is that professional success is good, but one has to have a balanced lifestyle, and one cannot be having a lopsided lifestyle where you're completely ignoring and destroying your body in order to achieve something material. So this kind of balance has to be brought in, and I think this education has to start from school. It cannot be, because see, even in school, what do we say? Oh, you have to crack this exam, you have to crack that exam. I think our whole education system is very lopsided, very extreme in nature. We need to create holistic individuals rather than extreme individuals.
Wow, that's also a nice way of putting it. Mayur, coming back to you, our gym buddy here on the broadcast, some exercises that people shouldn't do in the gym. You spoke about burpees. Is there a specific set of exercises that now the entire health community is going against? I know burpees is an important exercise if you want the heart rate to go up, but is there a set of exercises that people are saying a complete no to now? Is there a change in the trend?
I don't think there's any exercise in which you should not perform. It is just that what I said is the intensity should be measured. There's something known as RPE, that is a rate of perceived exertion. You said about pushing the wall or hitting your limits. It is like, if there is 200 heartbeat, what we require, the maximum heart rate, you should not push it more than 190. You're putting yourself into danger just for burning those extra 2 or 3 calories. I think every trainer and every gym which is out there, they should do that the intensity should be measured, that you should not cross that. When you talk about the burpees, burpees are somewhere you're taking your body weight in the air. That is a plyometric move. Now you're extending your heart rate to above 90% every time you do that. Now who has registered that? What intensity you can take? And then again, once you go down after 1 minute, again you're doing the same. So that is putting a lot of pressure on the heart just for the sake of burning some more calories. I think primarily you can function more on the mobilities and keeping the bouts small, and recovery time should be good enough so that the heart doesn't take a lot of toll. If you talk about interval training also, even a strength training bout is an interval training. You do 10 to 12 reps of anything, then you recover for 45 or 60 seconds, and then you start again. So the intensity is the measure, not the exercise.
Well, intensity is the measure. You've heard it. from the man who continues to go to the gym. Dr. Mehta with us on the broadcast, lifestyle coach, saying that, you got to really stretch it out, really open up, let the body and the air flow. At the same time, we've got a nutritionist, a renowned nutritionist, Dr. Shikhar Sharma, saying that, actual food synergies can convert into successful stories when it comes to dietary changes. There are reasons. She spoke about food being acidic, alkaline, and how food in itself, they create air, and then we got to balance it out. And if you're looking for any sweetness, go for the fruits instead, if not olive oil mixed with some other oil. Dr. Naresh Trehan, one of the top cardiac surgeons in the country, was of the opinion that, inflammation of the heart and rhythmic problems is the prime reason why youngsters and the propensity of youngsters falling prey to the heart ailments is something that we're reading up every day. Take it easy, take a chill pill, do strive forward, continue to exercise, work hard, but it's equally important to keep your mental stability in check at the same time. On that note, Dr. Mickey Mehta and Dr. Shikhar Sharma and Mayur Dheer, many thanks for joining us here on the broadcast and helping us keep this non-medical and really talk about what should happen on dinner table conversations. Thanks a lot for that. On that note, this is Kabir Naqvi signing off for News9. We're going to keep continuing to probe developments like this, just like the case studies we showed you in our documentary, The Heart Died Young. So keep that in notice, keep that in your thoughts. There's something to ponder about for all of us. And in the end, dil dhadakne do. Keep it easy, take a chill pill. Thanks so much for watching.